It's the kind of moment you don't talk about because you're not even sure it happened to you. 1 second, you're in your life. The next, it's like you're watching yourself live it. A quiet glitch in your reality you hope no one else noticed. But what if these moments are your mind whispering that something deeper needs your attention? Long before it becomes a shout. Before we go any further, stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll not only know the signs of dissociation, you'll recognize why your brain survives this way, how to tell the difference between normal zoning out and something more serious, and what simple steps start bringing you back into yourself. And if you've ever wondered, why do I feel so far away from my own life? You might finally understand the answer. But let me take you to a moment, one that might feel strangely familiar. Imagine this. You're sitting in a meeting, scrolling through a document you're supposed to understand. People are talking, maybe even calling your name. But everything sounds muted, like you're underwater. Your body is here, but you aren't. You're hovering just above yourself, wondering why it feels like your hands don't fully belong to you. You blink, look around, hope no one can tell that you're drifting in and out like a radio with a shaky signal. And when you finally come back, there's this quick jolt, almost like you were asleep with your eyes open. You tell yourself it's just stress, lack of sleep, long day. But deep down there's a flicker of fear. Why does this keep happening? And here's the truth. Many people don't realize. Dissociation rarely starts with drama. It often enters quietly, as a protective reflex. Subtle, almost polite. Like your brain is trying to dim the lights to make the room less overwhelming. Let's ground this experience in what's really happening inside your mind. Not in a diagnostic clinical way, but in a human way. Because dissociation isn't your brain malfunctioning. It's your brain trying desperately to keep you safe. When a threat, emotional or physical, feels too big, your nervous system has two main options: fight it or flee. But when neither of those options will work, your mind engages its emergency lever. It disconnects. Not because you're weak, but because you're overwhelmed. This can show up as losing time, forgetting chunks of a conversation, feeling unreal, or feeling like the world around you is flat, foggy, or not quite alive. And you'd be surprised how many people experience moments like this without even knowing the name for it. This is where things get interesting because dissociation exists on a spectrum. On one end, you have the everyday zoning out we all experience. Getting lost in a song, driving a familiar route and not remembering the turns, daydreaming while someone talks. That's normal, harmless, a simple shift of attention. But on the other end is the dissociation your mind uses as psychological armor. This kind isn't refreshing. It's draining. Feels like someone pressed pause on your emotional connection to the world. And one of the biggest clues is that afterward, instead of feeling rested, you feel detached. Disconnected from your own memories. And maybe this is where your story overlaps. Let's take you into a deeper scene, because this is where the real turning point happens for many people. You're lying in bed at night, staring at your ceiling. You're tired but can't sleep, not because you're wired, but because your body can't decide if it's in danger or not. Your thoughts feel like they're happening behind glass. You try to remember the last 3 days, and it's like flipping through a book missing half its pages. A part of you whispers, "Is this normal?" Another part says, "Just get over it." You roll to your side, close your eyes, and feel this tiny fear that if you drift into your mind too much, you won't come back the same. That moment right there, the quiet fear, is often the turning point. The place where people start looking for answers. Where your brain's coping strategy stops feeling protective and starts feeling like a problem. So let's look at what dissociation actually means. Scientifically, emotionally, and personally. From a neuroscience perspective, dissociation is your brain reducing activity in areas that process emotion, memory, and self-awareness. Your prefrontal cortex goes into hyperdrive trying to manage the overload, while your amygdala stays on high alert, scanning for threat. The connection between these systems becomes unstable. Think of it as emotional circuit breakers flipping off to prevent burnout. Psychologically, dissociation is your mind's escape hatch. When reality feels like too much, too loud, too painful, too unpredictable, Your brain lets you stand slightly outside of yourself so you don't have to feel it all at once. Emotionally, dissociation says, "Let me hold this for you until you're ready." Feels soft, quiet, almost gentle. But over time it can steal your presence, your memories, your sense of yourself. Many people don't realize this until they notice patterns, like conversations they can't recall, feeling detached from their own reflection, or emotions that feel muted, like someone turned down the volume on joy, sadness, or even fear. And here's where your story deepens, because the most dramatic realization isn't the dissociation itself. It's noticing how long you've learned to live around it. For some people, dissociation becomes the wallpaper of their life. Familiar, unquestioned. They build routines around staying disconnected, keeping busy to avoid slipping into that fog. They laugh when they don't feel like laughing, perform normalcy, become experts at functioning while feeling half alive. But then there's a moment, one that feels almost cinematic. Maybe you're at a family gathering, or sitting in traffic, or brushing your teeth, and suddenly you catch the strangest feeling. I'm not fully here. Not in a dramatic, terrifying way. Just distant, like you're looking at your life through someone else's eyes. This is the moment that shocks people the most. Not because it's dangerous, but because it reveals how long they've been operating on emotional autopilot. And if this is resonating with you, don't panic. This is the moment many people wake up, slowly, gently, courageously, to the truth. Your brain doesn't disconnect because you're broken. It disconnects because you've been strong for too long without support. So what do? The first step isn't to fight dissociation. Fighting it often makes it stronger. The goal is to help your body feel safe enough to come back online. You do this through grounding, not the trendy kind, but the neurological kind. Feel your feet press into the floor. Name 5 things you can see. Holding something cold. Breathing in a pattern that tells your nervous system you're not in danger. The second step is noticing your triggers. Dissociation rarely appears randomly. It tends to show up during overwhelm, conflict, silence, exhaustion, or emotional reminders of old wounds. You don't need to judge your reactions. Just notice them. The third step, if possible, is to talk to someone, preferably a licensed professional. Dissociation is treatable, manageable, understandable. It responds beautifully to trauma-informed therapy, grounding techniques, mindfulness practices, and slowly rebuilding emotional connection. And finally, you learn to re-enter your life gently, one moment at a time. You let yourself feel again, not all at once, but in doses you can handle. You begin to reclaim your presence, your memory, your agency. That fog starts to lift, not instantly but steadily. And sometimes the most comforting truth is this. The fact that you're recognizing dissociation means you're already coming back home to yourself. Before we wrap up, let me say this directly. If you've been living with dissociation, you're not alone and you're not crazy. Your brain is showing you that something hurt, and it's trying to protect you. The goal is not to get rid of dissociation overnight, but to build safety in your body so it doesn't need to use it anymore. If this story helped you understand something about yourself, stay close to this channel. I'll keep guiding you through the deeper layers of anxiety, trauma, emotional health, and the neuroscience behind why you feel what you feel. And if you want more videos like this, ones that feel like someone sitting beside you explaining your mind with clarity and compassion, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. You deserve to understand your mind, and you deserve to feel present in your life again.